Welcome to Stayf Draws. I'm Stayf van de Groot, a Dutch artist, and I've made a video about animating in Procreate Dreams using my own character Horace Hippo. And in that video, and I'll leave a link below this video, I just showed how I sketched everything and I did the rough animation, so the rough sketches. And in this video I'm going to do the inks. The character Horace Hippo is from the 1920s, so I wanted to remain in style. And I found a great book that's about Disney animation that's called Ink and Paint, The Women of Walt Disney's Animation. And I think this is the greatest book about the process of animation of the Walt Disney Studios. And it also shows how they inked the cels with crown quill pens, and also how they applied the colors on the back of the cels. So I'm going to apply that to the animation, the rough animation I just did, and just ink all of the individual frames in Procreate Dreams. I already inked some frames on a separate layer. Underneath you see the sketches, and I'm just inking over the roughs because I know the character pretty well. And I'm in flipbook mode. And I'm using the Stayf Walt Kelly ink. And that's in the brush set Stayf comic inks, but you can also download the single brush for free. I'm inking everything with thick and thin lines. They're just tiny thick and thin lines, and that gives the character a little bit more volume when you ink it with thick and thin. That's how they used to do it back in the day, because the character is from 1926. It's part of the story World of What If, and I just published the first part of the graphic novel series World of What If, and that's available on Amazon. I'll leave a link below this video. This is in real time, so it takes a lot longer, to ink, and especially bigger shapes, you need to control your ink line. And especially in animation, because it is in a sequence, and the ink lines need to be consistent, otherwise they will start to flicker. In this animation, Horace Hippo wants to paint a canvas, but then he steps into a bucket full of ink, and then he colors himself. So this is in the middle of the animation that the bucket with ink just falls onto him. This is for an animation in a coloring book, and I still had some pages to fill. So if you flip the coloring book, then you see this animation. And everything that's above the line will not be shown in the animation, so I'm not inking the bucket. I'm using drop color to drop in the black inks. But I'm also using the eraser with the same brush, because you need to separate when a character is black. You need to separate the lines so that you can see where the front and the back leg are of the character. He also has a little tail. And I'm closing all the shapes because I need to fill them with drop color. And sometimes, you know, drop color will fill in gaps you don't want. So I'm using the eraser again to clean up the inks. And he's holding a brush in his hands and the shape is not closed. So I first need to close it and then I can use the drop color. This is of course much faster than doing it the original way on cels, because then they would turn around the cell and then paint all the colors, even the blacks on the back of the cell. And here's a little progress of the animation. And this is one of the last frames I'm inking. Horus Hippo has the bucket with black paint or black ink on top of his head, and the ink is just dripping onto his face and the rest of his body. In the meantime, I'm working on part 2 of the graphic novel World of What If, and that will come out at the end of this year. And when you're inking, it's always to keep breathing, because otherwise you get a hesitation in your line work and you don't want that. So just keep breathing while you're inking your character. And you always can do undo when you're not satisfied with your strokes. Most of the time we'll do a cleanup of the animation, but this is just a small animation and it's very fast. So I'm just inking over the rough animation I did in the last video. An important thing is that you always keep the volume right, also of the inking, but also of the character. Otherwise the shapes will jump around. I did this animation on 12 frames per second. Usually it's done on 24 frames a second, but because this is for a flipbook animation, I'm just drawing it or animating it on 2s. So when the animation is finished, I'm going to export it as a PNG sequence. And I'm going to share and then choose frames as images. And this I'm going to export to my MacBook. And I'm going to import all of these images into InDesign. And in InDesign I will place them on the left side page. So this is InDesign, And on the left, I'm going to import all of the 22 frames of the flipbook animation. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you like it, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to hit that notification bell, because each time I upload a new video, you will get a notification. Drawing is fun and practice makes perfect. See you next time. Doodles! A former Dutch cartoon star from 1926 is brought back to life in this graphic novel. Horace Hippo returns. Horace Hippo, also known as Quap, was a Dutch cartoon star in the 1920s. Marinus Hollanders made the movies with this animation studio, Tekenfilmfabriek Hollandia. All the movies were lost until Marinus' grandson, Stayf brought Horace Hippo back to life in this graphic novel. Horace relives his past in the retroflash, but he is misled by time. He's needed in the world of what if, a world of imagination. The world is in grave danger by the threat of AI. Oki and Doki have to lure Horace Hippo into the world of what if. The graphic novel is also a flipbook. The paperback is now available worldwide on Amazon.